welcome into another episode of the Bog and Smog Fantasy Cast, and I am joined once again by Smog and Couch. We're at full strength, and you guys are, I should say. You guys came away with some W's this week, and I did not. So I'm feeling a little down. I was excited to get to 3-3, and that did not happen. But hey, can't all win each week, can we? Unless you're Phil, it seems like. Phil, you came away with a big victory. How are you feeling this week?
I'm feeling good, sitting at the top, a game ahead of the rest. And yeah, so far so good, but anything can happen. I could go on a 3-game losing streak. So
yeah, that has been known to happen. But Cole, you made a little leap this week. I think you were sitting down where I am right now, down in the 9 spot, and just leapt right on up to 5th, just sitting right outside the playoffs. So that kind of shows how tight the league is, but you got to be feeling good. You're in it.
It's a little uncomfortable up here. I don't know if Phil gets these. I'm starting to get a nosebleed towards the top here. So we're a second half or mid-season away from even thinking about playoffs, which at the beginning of the year sounded like a joke for my team. So we'll take it. 5th place right now. Heck yeah.
That's right. And you're right. We're getting there. Like, we are 6 weeks in, working through week 7 right now, and we're a couple weeks away from being halfway through the season. And speaking of which, at that point, we will reevaluate power rankings. It's a little preview to come and see where we're standing halfway through the season. But we got 2 more weeks ahead of us, and a lot can definitely happen in that time to really kind of shake out and see maybe where things are going to be going for everyone and where their teams are sitting. But before we do that, let's look back. Let's talk about what happened this last weekend. Let's jump in to our rewind here. Let's take a look at the matchups that just happened over this past weekend. And I'm just going to get right into it, Phil.
Yeah.
120 to 105. You took me down, climbed to 5-1. And really, we were talking about this earlier. The quarterback has been the bane of my existence this entire season. I haven't been able to start a good one. I should have started Trevor Lawrence, but even that would have not made the difference. And Curtis Samuel really let me down on that incredibly exciting Thursday night game that we all experienced last week. And those were my 2 really big shortcomings. But your team played pretty well. 120, a little bit of an underperformance for you, but still coming away with a W.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so far loving the Mahomes-Kelsey stack. It's been great fun to watch and to just see those points ticking up. The worst person on my team, other than the defense, was Mike Williams. Got 2.7 points, but he's gonna do that. He's a roller coaster. So I'm feeling good. Yeah. And I get to, this next week I face our good friend Cole here.
Yeah, and
we were
Cole,
friends until this matchup coming up. Go ahead, Bob.
That's right, but you're coming off a big win, though. And you took down Joe, climbed to 3-1, 114 to 84. And this one, it wasn't particularly close. A 30-point margin. That's a pretty good gap of victory. And as always, Josh Allen, Devin Singletary, you started the right Rams running back this week. So that all worked out pretty well for you.
Pretty soon to be the only running back that matters in that offense, I think. Hopefully Cam Akers gets traded to a team where he can produce. I shouldn't say that, but he really hasn't shown anything, and outlook is still poor there. But no, you know what's funny is 114 points was the 3rd highest points this week. So I think most players and most teams saw some down performances. So yeah, it was definitely 114 was overperforming for my team. So,
Yeah, and Joe's team definitely not looking good, getting half a point out of Jeff Wilson. Justin Herbert with a real down week. And, Pickens and Goddard both not helping him out. So, yeah, his whole team, no one even really popped for a big game at all. So, and that's just kind of what it was. It was a lot of low scores. Like you said, 114 was the third highest. A lot of low scores this week. But another one, but the highest scoring affair that we had all weekend was Michael versus Ben. Are you ready for some football? Taking down the fantasy football team 124 to 101. And he climbs to 4-2. Nipping at your coattails there, Phil, is are you ready for some football? And as always, on the back of his incredible receivers with Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase putting up big points. But he's got a little running back thing going here now. Christian McCaffrey and Breece Hall both with 19 points. Starting to look like a pretty good tandem in his starting spot.
Yeah, it looks pretty darn great there in those two running back. And on the other side with Ben Chubb having a really down week, only 7 points. Michael Carter not doing anything. That really, I think, made the difference right there.
Yeah, and another one that kind of got away from us again here. We got Natural Born Kylers with a 112 victory over Tyler Nectar the Gods with only 77 points. And I think this may be the last of the very down weeks for Tyler because DeAndre Hopkins is back. I think DeAndre Swift is coming back, going to be getting healthy. I want to say they said targeting week 7. That's week 7's coming. So I haven't heard if DeAndre Swift is coming back or not. But once he's got those guys back and healthy, this is going to be a competitive team again. But he was thin from the start and pretty riddled with injuries, so was not helping him. But Ethan's team putting up 112, that was above the league median too this week. So it's not like he just squeaked by with one. His team did perform pretty well relative to everyone else, specifically on the back of Mr. Leonard Fournette and those Miami receivers.
say, Bog, can Aaron Rodgers have a fantasy performance that actually matters? Like his floor has been fine, but is he going to actually break 20 this year, or is this
The
is
answer
this
to
more
that
than
question
expect?
is no. He's terrible, and I'm just done with it.
I think he's done
He'll
with it
flash.
too. Like he
He'll
just
flash,
seems
but
This
he
is the
seems
game
like
to do
he's
it.
fed up.
I agree with you, Smog.
This is the measuring
this is
stick.
the game you do it, right?
yeah, this is the measuring stick, right? Like, if you're bad against Washington, uh-oh.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, I don't
Everybody
know.
else has been putting up decent games against the Manders D all year, other than the last Thursday night game. But we all know who they played, so
Yeah.
And it was
will
a
say-
Thursday night game.
Yeah, and I will say, just kind of sidebar here on the Packers, it's not all Rodgers. I blame LaFleur a bit too when he's got Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon, and he is not working them into the game plan that you thought they would be. And maybe they course correct here, start getting those guys some touches. Honestly, I love the idea of having two good guys and working both of them, but Aaron Jones is better than A.J. Dillon. We all know he is. Like, don't make it a 50-50 split. Like, get Aaron Jones some juice, get him some rhythm, and get him going. But I'm just worried about that. We'll see. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
But moving on from that, our last matchup of this past weekend, kicking it with Kareem, falling just short of rando guy out east, Jordan, with just a more like a 3-point loss to Tanner. So Tanner climbs to 3-3. Jordan falls to 3-3. And as we alluded to, he's on that 3-game skid, 3-game losing streak. Phil, what did you see in this matchup here?
Well, Najee Harris hasn't been good for him all year, and then he benched him, and then he outscored Kareem Hunt, and Cortland Sutton had a very down week. All of his receivers are kind of middling, but I mean, with Stevenson's putting up some points and Sanders keeps going, his team is still good. Lamar's not playing well. It's kind of just a blah.
Don't
right
you think
now.
it's tough? Don't you think it's tough to stomach having Russell Wilson and Marcus Mariota as two? Like, you have two very good wide receivers in Drake London and Cortland Sutton, but you have two terrible quarterbacks throwing you the ball. And I mean, Trevor Lawrence hasn't been terrible, but he's not been lighting up with some huge fantasy output. So it's going to be tough the rest of the year unless those quarterbacks completely reverse the script for them to get some good numbers for him again here.
Yeah, it does seem like they're in a downfall right now. Hopefully they can climb back up.
Yeah, and you know what? He made some moves that I think could help him this year, but we'll get into that in just a moment. But before that, do you smell that? You smell
is
it?
that? What's that smell?
It smells like a bungle, and it's Bungles' biggest bungle. And we alluded to it. The biggest bungle, had he just started Najee Harris, he'd have won. He'd have came away with the W. But he went to Kareem Hunt. Najee over Kareem for Jordan. And that was...
Nick, what was last week's bungle?
Yeah, and last week's bungle is he started Najee over Kareem, which was a terrible decision. So, Jordan, you just need to figure that out. Start the right players. Just start the right players, and you'll get some W's, okay? Quit bungling about.
Must be so frustrated.
But that's all the bungles we need for today. Let's get into the transactions of the week. Let's look at the waiver wire. And Phil, did you have any waiver moves that you really liked this week?
There was a few decent things. Rasky taking Jared Goff. He just traded Jalen Hurts away. He needed a backup, and Goff is as good as any out there. But what about you guys?
From the tight end spot, I like Jordan's pickup of David Bellinger, the rookie, Giants. His snaps and routes run has just gone up since week 1, and I think last week he was on the field like 90% of snaps or something. So, I mean, maybe not huge ceiling this year, but, I mean, future outlook, I love that pick. So, $4 is absolutely worth it. So.
Yeah, and for the season, I like the pickup for Ben. He's been needy at the tight end position, so he goes out and picks up Robert Tonyan. And for $15, I get it. I thought about bidding more, and I only put 3 down, and he beat me on that one. And Tonyan had 12 targets last week, and I understand that tight ends are up and down all over the place, but I don't know. Rodgers is the most stubborn quarterback ever, probably, and he is going to just throw to like who he wants to throw to, and he trusts Tonyan more than the rookies, and he's just gonna like decide he's gonna beat everybody with Tonyan, especially with Cobb going down. I think he's going to continue to see not 12 targets, but 7, 8 targets a week maybe. And when that happens, you know, if your tight end goes 4 for 50, it's not a bad week.
Perfect.
It's fine. It's good.
It's great.
And Tunyon's got touchdown upside, so I don't mind it at all. I think it's a very solid pickup, especially for Ben, who needed a tight end he can start, and that's exactly what Tunyon is.
I agree. I agree with you, Bob. The tight end position has been a lot like the quarterback position this year, where it's like there's no middle ground. You either got a high performer or you got nothing. And Tunyon's definitely showed that he can have spikes when Aaron Rodgers starts targeting him. And they've lost Watson, or at least Watson's been banged up a little bit still. So, I mean, yeah, definitely a good outlook for at least upcoming weeks for him.
But the waiver wire wasn't the only thing happening. We have kept it going, guys. The trades have been flowing this year, and I love it. It's always exciting to see an alert come through. Game of Throws, a trade has been completed. Oh, it's just like, what is it? What happened? We had a few this week. I'll talk to the one I was involved with. Me and Ben. This was about like 6 a.m. Monday morning, I think. We get this trade to go through. Aaron Jones from me going over to Ben's team. I'm receiving Deontay Johnson. This trade just felt, I don't know, fair to me. Both guys kind of underperforming. Ben can plug and play Aaron Jones, a little upgrade at the running back spot. My wide receivers are pretty thin, and I needed some help there. And I like Deontay Johnson. I think he actually, looking at his utilization and stuff, like I think his numbers will improve, and he'll get some more points. So it seemed like a good, mutually beneficial trade. What did you guys think?
Yeah, I agree with that. Ben needed another running back to, throw in there on the buys or on his bye weeks, or if they get injured or anything, he needed something. And Deontay Johnson, I love Deontay Johnson. Obviously, his quarterback, whoever it is, Trubisky or Pickett, aren't great. But outlook is good for Dynasty. He's a good player.
Yep. Yeah, you're going to be trading a little bit of value away with Jones there, but you're getting that long-term Dynasty value. So it's a very, very even trade. I loved it. And then the other trade I liked this week, too, was Cordero and a first for Jalen Hurts. So Tanner finally got a quarterback, baby. What do you think about Cordero? I mean, yeah, he's going to be coming back, I think, a few more weeks here. So there is he might be great for that playoff push for Atlanta because they love to run the ball, apparently. But it's a roller coaster for that first round. You don't know if you're going to be getting, that overall first, or you're going to get the 10th one, and there's a lot of difference in value there. But either way, it's a good gamble for both parties involved. What did you think of that one, Nick?
Yeah, this was a very Jordan trade, and I say that honestly with like the utmost respect of like he traded away Jalen Hurts and received future help, which is something I know he's building towards and is looking for his team. But he's also not just punting this year. Like, he is still also trying to compete. We know Cordero Patterson does not have a ton of long-term value. Maybe he's like ends up, I don't know, I can see him being like a J.D. McKissick type player in like a year or two. But like this year, when he comes back, he should still provide a lot of value, and Jordan is not just giving up on this year. And this is a player that can help him this year too. So trades Jalen Hurts, gets future equity, and made his team a little bit stronger this year because he didn't want to keep flip-flopping between Jalen Hurts and Lamar Jackson. So losing Hurts didn't like make his team worse this year, unless like Lamar goes down to injury or something like that. But you're never going to like project that or something, right? So I like it. It was a good trade. It's like totally something Jordan would do, of like help his team now and in the future. It was a good move.
Yeah, great move. And then picking up Goff for a backup, it was also a great move. So,
yeah,
great job. And Tanner's team now is much more scary to play because Russell Wilson's been getting him like 10 points maximum like every week. And he's been, he's going to be hard to deal with now.
Yup.
You might have created a monster, Jordan.
No. And did we have one more? We had one little swap ski, right? That was
Madison?
before the weekend, the Alexander Madison for Michael Carter swap between Ben and Joe. And that one, it's fine. Like Michael Carter will do what he did this week. Maybe he gives you like 5 points in a week. Maybe he stumbles in for a touchdown. You don't want to start him, but you can. Madison's kind of that too, in my eyes. But yeah, Madison maybe has the long-term value of like if he gets signed somewhere next year and he's like the dedicated starter there, then maybe that's like the player you want to have. But all of that's all maybes, right? We've been kind of saying that a lot, throughout the past shows, like maybe. A lot of the time those maybes don't really pay off in the rosy shade that you project. So yeah,
he could go to the Bengals next year and be Mixon's backup again. Like he could go into a backup role again.
Exactly.
But we'll see.
That's right. And that's the trades, the transactions of the week. But guys, I think it's time for a party.
Ooh, a pizza party?
It's a pizza party.
So
I'm
good.
loving this segment. It was fun last week to jump into this, build our lineups, and just have another little thing I was watching throughout the weekend. The thing that killed me here was I built my lineup to predominantly be based on Phil's lineup in his team. So I was thinking, well, at least if I lose in the league, I'll get a pizza out of it.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
But that was incorrect.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you did. At least you didn't put up 75 points like my team did. I had DK. DK put up 4.4 points, and I paid heavily for him. And then Jeff Wilson, as we saw on Joe's team, half a point. It's a pizza for Phil this week.
Yeah, so for those keeping track, Phil gets the pizza this week from Cole. And I hear it's coming Thursday Night Football. Great time for a pizza.
I cannot wait for free pizza and football. So
Smog, what's going on that pizza?
Oh, we're just gonna play roulette, pizza roulette. I'm gonna roll some die, and we'll get what we get, man.
Anchovies, pineapple.
If
I don't even know if
the
they
way
do.
it goes.
I don't even know if they do anchovies anymore. I think they realized that was
Yeah, I don't think they do. But yeah, I won, and it was fantastic. I went with my Mahomes and Kelsey stack, and that Commanders D that I got on the cheap got 13 points, so that was pretty nice.
Yes.
It won't happen again.
It will not happen again because the lineup I have created this week is not based on my opponent in the league this week. I've decided to actually just set a lineup that I like.
Okay.
So let's get into it. I'll kick us off. Quarterback this week. So those keep track. Well, let's just start off this way. I'm just going to say this. I've created a league in DraftKings. So anyone listening, if you have a DraftKings account or you want to get a DraftKings account, I think in order to get a DraftKings account, you have to put in like $5 or something like that. I think they make you make a deposit, but it's like $5. You can get a DraftKings account, and you can just join the league, and you can join in on the pizza party. And doesn't have to be the three of us. Whoever wins will be receiving the pizza. Whoever loses in the league will be sending the pizza. Okay, so anyone who wants to join, feel free to jump in. But this week, we do have a new addition. Jordan is creating a lineup, so he's involved. But let's run through our 3 lineups. Mine, starting off at quarterback at 5,900. I'm spending down a little bit. Derek Carr. And I see a smile on your face. Is that what you're working with here too, Cole?
I actually spent 5,900 also, but I'm rocking Tua. Miami coming back from concussion protocol here.
Oh,
so where'd
There
you
you
go
go.
with your? Where'd you go with yours, Phil?
I also went Carr versus Houston.
Oh.
So all around the same spending money for our quarterbacks.
Nobody wanted to overpay. That's fine. What did you have?
Just
What did you have at
enjoy the
running?
week for it.
What did you have at running back, Smog?
I went with Brees Hall. He's been doing great. I'm going to keep in the flames with him. And then I also went with Damian Pierce in the same Houston versus Las Vegas game. Pierce was only 6,400. He's been looking awesome. I think he'll get close to 100 all-purpose yards, maybe get a touchdown. We'll see.
I went a little bit cheaper at my running back spot. I went Khalil Herbert. Hopefully that we get some big runs, chunk it off, maybe a big touchdown of like 50 or 60 yards. And then I went Michael Carter, kind of the opposite of Brees Hall again, maybe getting some red zone carries, maybe getting some cheap touchdowns. We'll see.
Yeah.
Bold.
Okay.
But it could pay off.
If they hit, that's like a millionaire maker lineup right there. You got to throw that in there because those are the lineups that like win hundreds of thousands of dollars. I spent down a little bit, but not as much as you did. I put in Brian Robinson against Green Bay because everything about them is terrible. So
they're 3-3.
Yeah, but have you watched them? God. So Brian Robinson getting in there at 5,500, and then Raheem Mostert against Pittsburgh for 5,600. If he's feeling a little bit better off of the injury from last week and can continue to dominate those touches with Tua coming back, hopefully that opens things up, and Mostert can bust off some big plays like he likes to, and he was 5,600. So I spent down a little bit at the running back position, but that is what afforded me to spend up for the Derek Carr, Devontae Adams stack. Getting that price at 8,700 is pricey, but against Houston, I feel good about that. And then Amari Cooper at 6,100 and Alec Pierce against Tennessee at 4,600 is my wide receiver core.
Solid.
Yeah. My wide receivers are, well, I'm going to talk about my flex because it's one of your running backs, Nick. Brian Robinson. I have him in my flex. So, but my wide receivers are Ayuk versus, any game with Kansas City. I want a player in. And then I went with Christian Kirk. So hopefully he bounces back. And I went with a real gamble here with DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah, just hoping he walks right into a big game.
Just,
huh?
it's not like he was injured.
It's not like he was injured. And also, Marshawn Lattimore is out against Arizona.
So, and he was a little cheaper. So I kind of went with just like an all middle of the pack crew, but So I'm not feeling as confident as I was last week, but
Well, either way, that Arizona plays tomorrow night, so you'll be eating a pizza, either enjoying your Hopkins performance or at least enjoying the pizza. So
that's right.
at wide receiver, I spent up. I went Tyreek Hill, and then T. Higgins right after that, and my dart throw, absolute dart throw, Tyquan Thornton, rookie for the Patriots. Last week had 2 touchdowns. This is his 3rd game with them, coming back from injury that he had in the preseason, I think. There's not a lot of snaps he's getting yet, but maybe they just keep this. They've won 2 games in a row. Maybe they think he's the piece of the puzzle, and they just keep giving him targets. So
You better hope Zappy's still playing.
Yeah.
yeah, I think they talked about Max starting this week though, so hopefully that doesn't skew that. And then what did you guys have at tight end?
I spent way down at tight end, 2,700 at my tight end position. I'm starting Jawan Johnson
Okay.
from New Orleans.
Yeah.
Okay. Landry and Thomas still out, and Arizona's absolutely terrible against tight ends, and Adam Troutman is out for New Orleans. So A plus B equals Jawan Johnson scoring points, right?
It does.
Okay.
I think so.
So
Okay.
Jawan Johnson at 2,700.
Oh, I went with David Njoku. So they're playing Baltimore. Their defenses looked bad, but their offense can still put up points, maybe. Who knows what we'll get this week. But I think he's been great. And, yeah, that's who I went with at tight end.
And I spent about the same, I think. George Kittle this week's 5,300. So right in the top to middle of the pack for tight ends. Didn't want to overpay for the guaranteed 10 points that Kelsey will probably get you. I wanted to just roll the dice and hopefully find some better value. But and then at the flex spot, I put Austin Eckler in. I'm tired of seeing him get these huge points on your team, Smog. So he better get me some pizza party points.
All right.
Yeah, I
Some
spent up in the
PPPs.
flex too. Oh no.
No, that's wrong.
I started Saquon in the flex. Okay, he's good.
Yeah.
He's very good. Yeah. And, of course, I went with Brian Robinson again.
That's right. And
And my defense was the Chargers versus the Seahawks.
I plugged in the Jets. I think they have a great matchup to tear Russell Wilson apart. So.
and I took the Giants defense looking pretty good against Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars.
Those 5-1 Giants. Who would have thought?
Giants.
So, if you're in New York, you got the Bills, you got the Jets, and you got the Giants, and they're all riding extremely high. I mean, the Buffalo Bills, we could have all predicted that, right?
Yeah.
But Smog Bog, who thought either the Jets or the Giants were going to start this hot this year?
Just warm.
Absolutely not.
No one.
It's
Nobody.
warm at this point. It's not hot yet, I suppose.
Not even their head coaches thought that it was possible.
Yeah. No, I mean it's pretty. It's cool to see. Like,
Yeah.
I don't love how they're winning, just running football and playing good defense. Like, I get it, fundamentals, like tough football. But like, what was the stat? Like, there's been like 100 less touchdowns this year, or something like that.
Yep. Even last year was a down year, I think, too.
Like, it is these low scoring games are driving me nuts. All right.
I agree. I'm getting really frustrated watching games that turn out to be like 5 field goals for each team. They just can't get in the end zone. They should
Yeah,
just like bring it out to the 30-yard line.
Being a football lover and being a fantasy football lover, like you love the competitive nature of even like low scoring, good defenses. You just love to see that. But then on the fantasy side, it's absolute barf city. I mean, you can't even like, you have to watch every third and long and every punt, and you're going, can somebody figure this out and solve this equation? Because offense can't be this hard, guys. I mean, I know your defense is good. Like, we all know Denver's defense is good, but Russell can't be this bad, right? And you're just like, figure something out. I don't know what you got to do on that offense.
Too dangerously, man. It was too dangerous.
Oh man,
He's always hurt now too. I don't know.
But that's the pizza party. The cough got me. We'll see how things play out. Jordan's in the mix too, and like I said, if you want to jump in, join the DraftKings lineup, and let me know. I'll add you to the group, and we'll get you into the league, and you can join in on this action too. But let's run through them quick. Let's look at our matchups coming up this week, and let's take a little stab at who we think is going to be coming out on top in some of these matchups this week. Let's start off with the natural-born Kylers taking on the fantasy football team. We got a 4-2 versus 2-4 matchup. Ethan versus Ben. Current projections 120 for Ethan to 114 for Ben's team, and this should be a close one. This should be a good one. And in my eyes, what I see always is, what do the Miami receivers do? But what is the difference maker for you guys here? Oh, and he's got Mostert in too. So what does Miami do for Ethan?
right? Yeah, I think if it's anything like the last couple of Thursday night footballs, Kyler Murray won't have any touchdowns. So that might be it. And then I see Taysom Hill sitting in his tight end spot right there. He could go off for 4 touchdowns.
It's the Hill factor this week. I think Ben's got this. I think he's going to win this. I know the projections say actually it's the opposite. But the Hill factor, both of those players can be so explosive that both of those have a big game. It might not matter what Ben's team does. So I'm not sure either way what's going to happen, but I think those will be the factors that'll contribute to a win or loss for both teams.
Yeah, on Ben's side, he just got Aaron Jones, right? So against Washington, it looks good. Let's see if Matt LaFleur will run him.
Yeah, we hope so. And otherwise, I mean, his team is solid. It's just whether or not they put up the points. This should be a close one, as the projections kind of show. And I agree with you, Cole. I actually do lean Ben on this one, despite the projections. But that's not the only matchup of the week. We also have the Nectar of the Gods taking on Rando Guy out east. And what is going on here? I'm looking at this. Let me pull this up. I'm seeing 110 projections for Nectar of the Gods to 89 for Tanner.
Well, it's got Marquise Brown in at the moment.
Okay, there it is.
Who is out.
That's right. And he's got Dion. Is it Dion Jackson? Is that his name?
Dion Jackson.
It is Dion. Okay. And Dion Jackson, and with very low projections. If
Jonathan Taylor's coming back.
Jonathan Taylor will be back. Right. So
Yeah.
that'll bump up.
You could start Ayuk maybe
Yeah.
in that spot for Brown.
Yep, I would absolutely do that. Or Olave or somebody.
Yeah. Olave is a better play. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so actually, with 110 projected on Tyler's side, he could go over that. We'll see what Hopkins plays like his first game back. Same with DeAndre Swift. And if Aaron Rodgers can start playing football, that'd be good for Tyler.
Yeah, it's a comeback week for Tyler's team. So Swift was hurt 2 weeks, then bye, so he's been gone 3 weeks, and then you got Hopkins coming back from suspension. So it's like now and then obviously Evans a couple weeks back from his suspension. So we're going to see what Tyler's team looks like this year. So it only took 6 weeks, but here it is. So.
Yeah, that's right. And I think, like I said, brighter days ahead for it. Let's see if it starts this week. But Cole, you got a matchup for yourself going up against the man right next to you, Phil. And this one's projected to be a little lopsided, but what are you boys thinking about it? I'll sit back
Cole,
and
do you
listen.
want to take this one, Cole?
No, I'll cede my time to the throne. You go.
No, I want you to talk about it.
So, yeah, are we forecasting a victory for you? Because I think that's a safe bet. You have every position projected more right now. Wait, no, hang on. My defense is going to outperform yours. So, hey, look at that. Maybe you need to adjust your lineup, sir.
Yeah, I've been streaming defenses. I'll probably pick up, whoever Tennessee or whoever's on, whoever's playing the worst player. But we'll see. Maybe I want to keep that San Francisco D.
I mean, they play Kansas City this week. Yeah.
Right.
No, clean sweep. Way to go. You have a good team. And I have probably the best chunk of my team on bye this week.
Right. Thank you for having the Bills and the Rams on bye this week, because that's five of your best players.
And I do hope that maybe I'll say the deciding factor will be if Hunter Renfrow has a really good game and Devontae Adams just does nothing. Maybe there's a hope.
Okay.
That'll be my one thing that maybe puts me into the contention.
Mm-hmm.
I see you're kind of shooting the moon here, Cole, going Rondale Moore in the flex, trying to just smash a big game there. Is that the decision on that start?
Thank you for asking. So Robbie Anderson just joined the Cardinals. I don't think he's going to get involved at all. Maybe he'll be out there for 10 or 20% of snaps. Hopkins, you coming back for suspension, could have a decent game. Probably will have a middling performance. But Rondell's been getting involved. I think he had 10 targets last week. And the Cardinals are playing from behind a lot, so they're going to have to throw the ball. I like that in that spot there. And, there's so many players on Phil's team that you can talk about the great matchups this week is another part of the problem. I mean, Austin Eckler's playing Seattle. Ouch. And, Devontae Adams even just playing Houston, another ouch. I mean,
yeah, it's going to be a tough one, tough sledding for you this week. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to lean Phil here on this one.
Wow,
I think he's going to walk away 6-1, which is, frustrating.
Great.
But for those of us,
I think it's great.
For those of us at the bottom, Phil, keep winning. I'm not getting that number one spot. You just keep beating everybody else up, hammering them down for me to jump over. All right.
I'll try my best.
So, speaking of, I have a matchup coming up against Jordan, 2-4 for my team versus Jordan's 3-3, kicking it with Kareem, 124.99 compared to Jordan's 118 projection. And I just saw this. They just cleared Dak and removed his even questionable flag. He's not even questionable anymore. So
Wow.
Dak is back. Dak is back.
back.
And he's going to be bad. But but he's by far my best quarterback, so I'm going to start him.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's pretty even here. I feel like. I feel like I do have a little bit of a running back advantage with Kamara and Jacobs. He's obviously got Lamar Jackson and the Mark Andrews stack.
Did you see this, Nick? He has Hunt and Harris in, so you can't bungle those two.
You can't bungle those two, but the bungle you can't. You better hope Latavius Murray doesn't go off, Jordan.
Is he the new one? He's the new bungle? Okay.
Could be.
You never know. You never know. But the one thing I'm curious about, I'm guessing it's just like rest days, but both Jackson and Andrews didn't practice today. We'll see what that all turns into. But yeah, I don't like having to start both Cooper and Njoku, but they've both been performing, so I'm going to keep rolling with it. The one I can't decide on is Kenneth Walker versus the Chargers, which is a great matchup, or Dameon Pierce against the Raiders, which is also a great matchup.
That's hard for me.
I can't decide. I'll flip-flop, and that's potential bungle territory right there.
That is definitely, yeah. I would go Pierce, but don't let me sway you. I don't want to put you into a bungle situation.
I mean, you spoke it into existence now, so it's in my brain.
He's in my pizza party lineup, so that's the only reason.
That's true, but I don't want to talk about this one anymore. I want to move on, and let's get into the last matchup. We got who do you think you are? I am.
Did you have a prediction for that last one, Bog? Before we move on.
I mean, mine. Yeah, I'm gonna win. Obviously.
Okay.
Nah, Jordan's gonna win. Jordan's gonna win.
I think Jackson and Andrews go off this week, and it'll be real close.
They go off into the pasture because they have a terrible week.
Ooh.
Way to go, win. Way to go, Nick. Another victory. Jordan, 4-game losing streak after this week. Ouch. Sorry, what was the next matchup there, Bog?
Yeah, it's our final one. Who do you think you are? I am versus Are You Ready for Some Football? We got a battle of a 3-3 Joe's team versus 4-2 for Michael. Very low projections for Joe this week. Not sure exactly what's going on. We got 82 projection to 111.
Goddard's on bye.
So there it is. Okay, so that's a big part of it.
Yeah.
That's Goddard on bye.
So he can put in. He doesn't have a tight end. He's going to have to pick one up.
All right, who's going to add drop all the tight ends quick? I got
That's
this.
right. That's right.
So there's Hayden Hurst out there. There's Will Disley. You go Parham. You can go Mo Alley Cox. Yeah, there's some. I mean, somebody who's going to get you actual points and have a legal lineup, right?
That's right. Because you got to start them. Otherwise, you get that draft pick penalty, which you don't want to have. Losing a draft pick because you didn't start a lineup is not what you want. So I would expect him to make a move at some point throughout the week before the games conclude, whether that is a trade or a waiver wire move. Interesting, going Justin Fields against New England and keeping Herbert and Brady on the bench. Bold choice strategy, Cotton. We'll see how it plays out, but otherwise, Michael's team is pretty strong here, and Jefferson is off, which is the one thing that could help Joe, but that also means Cook is off for him. So both these teams not at full strength, but I will still lean Michael on this one.
Yeah, since this isn't golf, I think Michael will outscore Joe. But,
I mean, you want me to tell you the same thing? I can tell you the same thing. Michael's team's got way better players this week, and he's not struggling from as much buy a situation as Joe is. So I think it's a smash. Subscribe. I subscribe to that victory.
Yeah, I mean, if Joe picks up a tight end off the waiver wire or trades for one, and then plays Justin Herbert instead of Justin Fields, he's got a good chance. But with this right now, he's losing.
Well, I think a lot of these projections for Joe's team are a little. I mean, some of them are spot on, like Gallup 9.1, I think, or 9.01, yeah. But I think Wilson and Pollard, maybe not Pollard's not too high, but I feel like Wilson's gonna have some more points. Even like Travis Etienne's gonna have more than 8.3. I don't know.
Right.
But still a win
as well.
Still a win for Michael Tweeten. Way to go.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree.
5-2. There you are.
Yeah. Then we'll see how it plays out. Based on what we're predicting here, we're predicting a little bit of a spread in the lineups, spread in the rankings here. We start kind of breaking apart, seeing who's making those runs for the playoffs and who's falling behind. I hope it doesn't play out that way. I love it when everyone's like a game within each other, and it's just like compete. So we'll see how it all plays out. But that is our projections for week 7. That is the preview. We talked pizza party. There was a bungle, real sniffy all around.
Oh,
and
super sniffy.
And that was the Bungles Smog Fantasy Cast for this week. And guys, it's been a pleasure, as it always is. I'm feeling good about this week. It should be a fun one. I know the Vikings are on bye, but that means I get to watch my Packers, and I'm excited. But for now, we're signing off from the Bungles Smog Fantasy Cast. Talk to you all next week.